Richard Tice.
As I say, we've got the highest taxes, the highest spending, and yet the worst outcomes, which means two things. Firstly, there must be huge waste in the system, and secondly, you've got so many people economically inactive. We have to make work pay. That's why our key economic policy is to lift the starting point to which you pay any income tax to £20,000. That means that 7 million of the lowest paid, in particularly young people, would pay no income tax below £20,000.
How much would that cost?
That would cost about £40 billion, and you pay for that, let me tell you, by, and the FT agrees with me on this, the Bank of England should not be paying interest on the money printed reserves, or the money that was printed in 2008 and during the COVID years. The FT agrees with me, Robert Peston agrees with me, think tanks agree with me. That's how you pay for it, and that's how you make work pay, and that's how you get people off benefits back into work.
We've got to hang on, James. Hang on, James.
You're not going to form the next government, because if we said that was our policy,
James, please. We have a think tank on the panel, Paul Johnson. Do you agree with him?
I'm not a think tank. I think so.
Well, first of all, the raising that tax on the banks would be about half of it.
It's not raising a tax on the banks, it's not paying interest voluntarily on the reserves that the government printed.
It's taking money from the bank relatively. Well, I was coming on to say that I think that at least partly you can get some money from that policy, but the maximum you can get is around 20 billion, not 40 billion, and indeed you might want to get a bit less than that. But that is, my guess is that is what some other parties are thinking about privately as a way of raising some additional revenue, but it's not going to come close to covering the 40 billion that you're talking about.
Well, it's about 35 billion according to estimates and economists, so you know it's right there. And this is the sort of waste and negligence we see from the Treasury and from the Bank of England. This is all of our money that is being wasted by this establishment, this administration, as well as just vast amounts of waste in the public sector. We all know it. We see it every day of our lives, whether it's councils, quangos, public sector, everywhere. We've got to stop wasting taxpayers' cash, spending it properly, and then actually we can get public sector outcomes that, frankly, the country deserves.
I don't entirely agree, because, for example, so the original question was about public services, and of course the NHS, the one I think people are concerned about the most. We have set out a policy for significant investment into primary care, into pharmacy, and that will be paid in part by reducing the number of managers in the NHS. We're going to reduce the number by 5,500, which will enable us to fund 50 more GP surgeries and a whole range of other new services. So I do think it's possible, but not to the degree you've said.
We've actually heard quite a lot through this election campaign so far.
You've heard a bit
on the panel about parties making spending commitments and saying they'll get the money through cracking down on tax avoidance or waste. I mean, how realistic do we think that is? Paul, you were indicating you wanted to come back in.
Yeah, it might surprise people. I mean, this government has not been bad at all at cracking down on tax avoidance and evasion over the last 14 years. If you look at where taxes are coming from, a lot more tax than there used to be, but it's mostly coming from companies. Might be damaging in the long run, and for people on very high incomes, and through cracking on avoidance and evasion.
Let me get comfy.
This 2 billion here, 3 billion there, and you can't be sure at all about whether you can get anything through.
Natalia.
Promises for more things.
I think.
What I'm talking about,
Natalia. Nice name, thank you for subbing.
Here at the moment, and that to some extent is what we should be looking at. And when it comes to things
What am I doing? I'm sitting in my tent.
Managed health system in the world. It's not that there are
Just listening to that.
maybe some bad managers, there may be some managers doing the wrong thing. It's certainly badly managed.
Got another tent right opposite this, just in my garden. I'll just show you.
Investment in IT in particular is disastrous in terms of the productivity.
The morning, no, it's about 8 p.m. I think.
In our NHS and all public services, we've got to stop losing staff, and because of the point that Paul just mentioned, we're losing a lot of well-trained, expert NHS staff because the management is very poor, it's a very stressful environment, and actually underinvestment in our public services makes them more wasteful and less effective.
Okay.
So we've got to turn that ship around.
Okay. thank you all very much indeed, Jennifer. We spent quite a long time in your questions, but we did cover quite a lot of ground, and of course, there are key areas that we will return to during the course of the campaign. Public services, tax and spend, absolutely central tenets of this election campaign so far. Just a reminder that you are listening to Any Questions on BBC Radio 4. On our panel, we have James Hartley from the Conservatives, Alison McGovern from Labour, John Nicholson from SNP, Richard Price from Reform UK, and Paul Johnson, not from a political party, but from the Institute
Cancel
of
that, hang on.
Studies.
Sorry,
And we
John.
also have our next question, which comes from Jonathan Newport. Hello, Jonathan.
Ah.
Nigel Farage, Tory party
Jonathan, thank you. James Cartledge, Willie?
Hello, Bodie. Hello, Adamic. How are you?
A straight and clear answer from politician on the panel.
Is it
Richard
the
Price,
morning? No, my friend. It's about 8 p.m.
Do you not think that that is actually part of his
in
ambition?
England.
No, absolutely not. No, I mean, the reality is that we need a proper right-of-centre party that believes in real conservatism,
What's going on?
taxes, growing the economy.
I'm just about to
small state,
have a smoke.
having a controlled immigration.
Got my hot
policy,
chocolate.
Mass immigration, which this government has imposed without any democratic consent.
8:40 p.m.
That's how we get the country growing again. That's how people will feel better off again.
I mentioned
It is
in the
indeed.
introduction that you were the leader of Reform UK until this week, when Nigel Farage changed his mind about standing in the election and took on the role of leader. How did you feel about that?
Fantastic. I've been urging him to come back fully and stand.
Leader, you wanted him to come
I've
back
been
and
talking to
take
him for
over?
months about this. I'm delighted that he made the decision. And together, we're essentially, it's a winning formula. And the reality is we're going up in the polls. The Tories are sinking in the polls. Within a week, we might be equal or above them.
Okay. A reminder of Jonathan's question. Will Nigel
Yes,
Farage
I am
be
indeed. I'm in
leader of the
England,
Tory
yeah.
party
I'm
by
from
next year?
southeast of England,
Tell you.
I don't think that's a question I want to
in
answer.
the countryside.
If you're a politician
County
with
of
a
Kent.
shoulder on that, the others, I won't let you get away with it. John Nicholson.
Well, in order to become the leader of any grown-up political party, he'll have to win a seat in Parliament, and he's lost 7 times.
Filler anthems.
Darling, I'll be.
Right, still got music on the way from Effie, Peggy Goo.
Yeah, mate, I couldn't be further away from Scotland. I'm right in the southeast of England. Probably about 25 miles from Dover, 35 miles southeast of London.
Also playing Parkland this weekend. This is gonna sound mega.
Bonnie Scotland, eh?
It's called Push.
I don't mind the Scottish. We've got a few Scottish people like that kind of moved in our village when we was all kids and that. Grown up with them, really. I'm English and I'm Irish and I'm Spanish. My dad's totally English, but my mum, she comes from Liverpool and she's got Irish blood. Her surname's spelt Byrne, and obviously if it was a Scottish Byrne it would be B-U-R-N, but it's not, it's B-Y-R-N-E, which is Irish. But you'll find a lot of people from Liverpool got Irish roots. Glasgow, no go zone. It's probably a bit like London, probably. I know you've got to watch the Blades and that up there, but to be honest, you've got to watch everything now, haven't you? Crazy world, eh? Crazy world. What's this crazy song? What football team are you then, being a Scottish guy? We've had some. I'm a Liverpool fan. We've had some great Scottish players over the years.
They say that is their foot.
Keir Starmer, when he ran for the leader.
Rangers. I'm Celtic, but obviously having Irish blood, I'm going to be Celtic. But I guess all the Rangers fans wave their Union Jacks about and that. But to be honest, I don't really consider myself British. I consider myself English. There's a big difference. Not that I'm against anybody that wants to be British or whatever. I don't. Rangers, eh? Should have left the top off the vent. Right, let's have a go on the old. Let's have a go on the old radio. See what's on there.
Welcome, frequency mode.
Train station. I'm with you. Where's my little antenna? Do I bring that? Must be in the back. Very well done with that. Rick Astley, eh? See if we can tune into a unit. Do a scan.
Using money for.
Yeah. Thanks very much.
What's that saying?
Oh, taking ages.
Given low birth rates and an aging population in the UK,
That song,
does the panel
that
think
song was a
policy
guy
of
called
low
Rick
or zero
Astley.
immigration is economically feasible?
Brian, thank you. Paul Johnson, is it?
The point about low birth rates is a really important one, which we do not talk about enough. Without, we are the
Highest rate of knife crime.
Absolutely.
And that has had
Yeah, he was very big in the 80s.
still on ONS projections expected to be about 300,000 a year going forward. But as I say, we have some choices here. What's driven that increase?
He also did a tune called I'm Never Gonna Give You Up, which was
Well, we have
quite a massive hit.
It's actually an export industry for the UK, but we could choose
Listen, they're not really good.
but if we do, then we'll have to probably pay more British taxes. That is just a choice. Secondly, a lot of them have come in for our... And again, we could choose to pay more to bring more UK people into that, or we could choose to have more people coming in as immigrants. Some come to fruit and agricultural. Again, we could choose to have a smaller agricultural sector or mechanise it or pay more, but that is again a choice we have. So I think the key point here is that we have really significant trade-offs here. If we're going to reduce immigration, then we'll have a different kind of economy. In the long run, it probably isn't, dealing with the demographic change by continually bringing more and more people in is probably not going to be the way that we're going to have.
Keep the spiders out.
That we want. But we should be glad of two things. First, a country in which people are leaving is probably a failing country. I grew up in the 1970s, not leaving the UK. So the fact that people want to come to it has been probably a good thing. It's a sign of a successful economy and a successful
Let's work out.
with all of these things, there are genuine choices and trade-offs. If we're going to have fewer people coming in, then we need to make choices about what we're going to do in terms of the structure of our economy.
Now, I'm just going to say to the panel before we move on, this is a big subject and we've only got about 9 minutes left on the programme. I want to make sure you all have a say.
Spiders horrify you.
It's quite brief, and I do have no doubt we will return to this during the course of this campaign. James Clark.
So Defence Procurement Minister, I dealt a lot with the shipbuilding industry.
Probably wouldn't
They're a classic
like it in this
example
tent then.
in many ways of what we're talking about. There's no question they have become too dependent, and they have come to assume the on-tap supply of labour from Eastern Europe, particularly, for example, for welders. And if you look
Luckily, we've got nothing that's going to kill me or eat me.
massive training up apprentices, bringing that
Obviously, some countries poisonous
no
ones.
alternative to that. The answer is we have got to fill the jobs with reliable
Australia, I think, has got
our own native
plenty of
workers.
deadly spiders.
To get them into those jobs,
I think the Aussies grow up with them in their
and
backyards.
so on. The pandemic had so many impacts, but I think this is an opportunity. It's an incredible opportunity.
But no, all the English spiders are very
Drive
peaceful.
ahead and have its own workforce and become
Not
less
tarantulas.
reliant on immigration.
James, why hasn't your government done that over the past 14 years? Because you were the people that presided over record levels of net migration. So why haven't you already done that, if you think that's the solution?
As Paul said, there were exceptional reasons why immigration was very high recently. We had the Ukraine scheme, we had the Hong Kong scheme, and there have been large numbers
You
of
deliberately
schemes.
allowed.
No,
You
that's-
deliberately allowed a scheme which
Snakes.
enabled basically open borders because you reduced the
Might get
salary
a snake or two
down to about £20,000. Look, the truth
around
is,
here.
we've had a huge.
To be honest, we've only really got two
We've got
snakes.
no economic growth.
Um,
We're now dividing the cake by about
and the
750,000 people.
two English snakes, or it might even be British ones.
Extra in 2023.
are
The system isn't coping.
the grass snake,
Increasing by
which is going to do nothing
in just 2 years. Huge
to you.
pressure we talked about.
And then there's the adder,
The system needs to be allowed to
the
catch
black
up.
adder,
And it's not right
which could do something to you. Yeah, adders, man.
population in this country on out of work benefits. We have to
But
make work for that.
they're not just going to slither up to you and bite you. You got to be getting in their way or something.
Our own young people. That's the reality.
Yeah,
We have to get off this
adders.
drug of addiction of cheap overseas
Okay.
labour instead of investing instead of investing in capital equipment, which Paul quite rightly referred to.
Okay, your policy is net zero migration, which effectively means that no more people come in
Fucking
than those
politics,
who
isn't
are
it?
leaving. So who wouldn't you allow in?
So
If we're
about-
looking about some of the
so
occupations
smart-
where there are skill shortages,
smart-
so IT,
exactly.
hospitality,
Well,
tourism, who wouldn't be
let's
allowed?
look at the numbers. So, smart immigration, highly qualified, highly skilled, above the average national salary, is a good thing. Okay? But about 500,000.
Local communities, working with schools, working with our young people to offer them hope and optimism for the future. And I'm afraid that Westminster doesn't offer that hope and optimism right now.
Okay. Nigel,
Anaphylactic shock.
Yeah, look, again,
I used to be a chef, so I can tell you all about anaphylactic shock. It's the same thing that people, when people eat peanuts and they're allergic to them, the body shuts down.
The old theories about New York and how it was
Quite
cleaned
correct.
up, because if you deal with the stuff at the bottom, i.e. people carrying knives, shoplifting, graffiti, broken windows, you might just deal with the more serious stuff. I think we also should add into all of this the blight of drugs and drug gangs in our cities. That whole culture, it has been absolutely disastrous, and nobody has yet found the answer to that.
Okay, well, that was our final question. So I'm going to thank you all for your responses to all of those here in the audience who've shared their questions with us. But time now is the party's final thoughts. And for that, they have been given 30 seconds for a final thought from each of them. And the order of those final thoughts, those final statements, was chosen earlier by lot. So let us go to the first of those.
After 14 years of chaos, the change. Keir Starmer has changed the Labour Party. Our fully costed plan for Britain will secure our economy, will bring down NHS waiting times with 40,000 new appointments every week, and will secure our borders, not with gimmicks, but with a credible plan to smash the gangs. Great British Energy bringing down bills and creating thousands of well-paid jobs. We'll boost neighbourhood police to tackle antisocial behaviour, and we'll hire 6,500 new teachers. If you want change, vote Labour.
Stephen Flynn.
The Tories are finished. The choice is simple. Who do voters best trust to put Scotland's interests first in Westminster? Now, in the SNP, we know it is investment in our NHS, action on the cost of living crisis, rejoining the European single market, and creating economic growth and economic value, and delivering net zero.
What this is,
We will never, ever get comfortable to Westminster.
it's a storm lantern. It's powered by paraffin in this little tank. Made in Germany. What it is, in America, not that I'm in America, but in America they use kerosene, but in England we go one stage better. We purify it one stage more than what the Americans do, which then creates paraffin, which is more friendly to you. Yeah. It's not flammable like petrol, even though obviously it's burning, but it's combustible, which means when it gets hot.
Penny Mordaunt, we've come through tough times, and now there is choice to be made. You can choose Angela Rayner and Keir Starmer.
Yeah.
Get higher taxes, higher
That could
bills,
burn. I've got a Tilly lamp as well, my dad's one. That one now, on one tank of fuel, can burn for 20 hours. I've even seen people converting them and cooking on them.
For a more secure future, vote Conservative.
Daisy Cooper.
Yeah, yeah, I know what you mean. But there's some like cheap ones from China. They're not very well made, but that one that I've got is a proper one made in Germany. It's quite interesting how it works, guys. Them two big arms coming off the side are hollow, and that's why it doesn't go out. It's a hurricane lantern.
Our politics isn't working. You've heard these pathetic arguments tonight between the two big parties. Really, there isn't.
What's outside? My garden. And there's my house. That's what's out there. It's okay, guys, I'm not homeless. I'm in my garden. It's a bit warm in the house, so it's nice and cool out here. Yeah, definitely. Fresh air, isn't it? To be honest, living in Kent, it's known as the Garden of England. Living in Kent, it's pretty nice around here. Thank you. It's an old council house. It was my mum and dad and 5 kids in there at one point. Now it's just me. But yeah, I've lived there all my life. How old am I? I'm 52. My dad, he was born in the next road. I should have brought some music out.
Is 0800 7833 583. What did you make of it? Give us a call tonight, or you can WhatsApp 81. You can text even 81 Travels.
Young.
Retreat ceremony on the 11th. Yeehaw! The Greens, Plaid Cymru and Reform UK have been taking part in the programme. Labour's Deputy Leader Angela Rayner was challenged by the SNP's Westminster leader Stephen Flynn over how her party intends to fund its plans for the NHS.
Too many people, especially our older generation, we've just been talking about...
Where's the volume then, that one? Oh, no.
...the care they need, but it costs more money to do that, so we would put home care services in.
Please say what? Can't even pronounce that, let alone say it.
The non-dom is not going to close the £18 billion fiscal gap which the Institute for Fiscal Studies says exists. There is a conspiracy of silence.
No, I still don't understand that. The only bit I can read out of that is say. The other bit I just don't. It's a bit gayish. Oh, right. Yeah, I had some strange goings on last night. It's all good though. It's all good. There's nothing any of you lot can do to faze me. Trust me. Guy last night, he come on again today. Show me your guns. Where are your guns? I ain't got no guns, man. Look at that bird.
In 2019, Unite gave £3 million to Labour's campaign. As search teams on the small island of Simi continue their efforts by land, sea and air to locate the radio and TV presenter Michael Mosley.
Ah, there's the
Has
volume.
emerged that appears to show him walking into a local village less than half an hour after he left a beach to go for a walk. The 67-year-old's wife reported him missing on Wednesday after he failed to return to their holiday
I ain't saying none of that.
The BBC's Joe Inwood is in Simi.
The images which the BBC has seen bear a striking resemblance to the missing broadcaster. The man is wearing the same T-shirt, the same cap, and the same pulled-up white socks as Mr. Mosley was in a photo taken earlier in the day. He's carrying an umbrella and wearing dark glasses.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has described as delusional a reported decision to put his country on the United Nations list of those committing violations.
Yeah, but you can spam, but all I've got to do is press one button and you're gone. But to be honest, you're not really bothering me. I'm quite a laid-back character.
Years with the track Houdini. It comes from his new album, The Death of Slim Shady.
Now, if you're some big bad gangster, you just get him right in my face, that might bother me, but you're not.
BBC News, it's 3 minutes past 9. 1, 2, 1, 2, mic check.
I passed, so I should do.
Welcome. Friday nights is
The
Good
test.
With me, DJ Spoonie, here until 11 o'clock tonight. Thank you.
Well, I
to
did
my
go to school
sister,
when I was
Michelle.
younger.
She'll be back next Friday from 7.
When I could be bothered.
If you want to get in touch and be a part of the show, text 88 to 91, or you can send me a WhatsApp voice note 08000 288 291.
Good person I try to be.
And we're going to start the show, as we always do,
Yeah, I don't drink.
with the Good Groove 90s party mix. You
Smoke
know
a bit of
the decade,
weed,
but
but-
can you guess the year? If you can, let me know.
I've got ADHD, so it helps with that. But alcohol, it just sends me to sleep. That's exactly what I've got, mate. Quite a few people have got both of them. I only got diagnosed 2 years ago. Thank you, Nat. You have a good day as well. Have a good weekend.
At a very early part.
While Angela was talking down.
Bye-bye. Take care.
He didn't actually have a lot to say on some of the major policy areas, tax and spend in particular. Was the Green co-leader Carla Denyer right to say that Labour is
Camping lanterns.
Well, no, because unlike the Green Party, Labour has actually costed all of our commitments. We know how we're going to pay for them, and we're not prepared to see the tax burden increase on working people.
But you
when
are,
it's at its
because you're
highest rate
freezing
for
tax
71 years.
thresholds for another 3 years.
Bye-bye. Enjoy the other stream. I'm always around anyway.
Clear that we want to see
Every day
burden on
I
working
stream.
people reduce. It's at its highest level for the last 71 years. And one of the first ways that we're going to ensure that that happens is we're going to deliver economic stability. That is our number one pledge, to keep people's mortgages, rents and taxes as low as possible. Angela was clear about that tonight, and for all of the desperation of the Tories, for all of the lies that they're trying to throw at people, I think the only question that people will be asking themselves are, do they feel better off than they did 14 years ago? And for the vast majority of people in Britain, the answer to that is no.
But you are freezing income tax thresholds. That's a tax rise. Everybody agrees. Would you not? Are you disagreeing with that?
We're not going to raise taxes for working people. We
So you're going to
All
increase the
streams
thresholds?
are sus.
We'll set out our detail in our manifesto. What we're not going to do is get into an ongoing commentary about every tax measure, but we have been absolutely crystal clear that we want to see taxes on working people come down, and to bandy about this widely discredited figure that the Conservative Party themselves came up with about £2,000 tax rise is frankly disgraceful, and why people don't trust a word that the Conservative government says.
We've said that's a
You're back.
thing.
You wasn't.
Let's talk about something that isn't.
You wasn't gone very long.
IFS predicted £18 billion a year in cuts for non-protected departments. So that's basically everything except the NHS, education and the army. Where do you want to see that act fall? Because you're committed to that at the moment.
But we are very committed to only making commitments that we know that we can fund and we know that we can keep. Because as Angela said on the debate tonight, if you crash the economy, as Liz Truss did, it's working people who pay a very, very heavy price. Every month when people go to remortgage, they find that costs are going up by on average £500 a month.
Depends what you mean by that word.
The economy. So we're going to manage day-to-day spending.
In English, that word there could mean
And we're only going
2 or 3 things.
as we grow the economy and we can afford it.
So you're not going to borrow, you're not going to put up taxes. That means that we're facing cuts of up to 4% for non-protected budgets. That's things like local government, councils. This is local radio you're speaking to. Lots of councils have gone under or on the brink of doing so.
Could be that's a bit
How are you
suspect.
going to stop
That's
more
a bit
councils from going under when you're going to cut their budget?
weird.
Completely reject
Well, I've never heard it.
We are not going
Well,
to
yeah, a
cut
bit sus, a bit strange.
Angela set out in the debate
I think I
tonight.
understand the
One of
term you
key ways
mean.
to do that is to get Britain building again. Housing prices, to grow the economy, to provide good, well-paid jobs in parts of the country where they
Has there
don't
been
currently
any
exist.
credible analysis to say that growth is going to generate enough to cover these £18 billion cuts? I've not seen anybody independent say that. It seems like a fantasy.
Our number one pledge is to grow the economy, to get the economy growing again, and that's how we'll pay for day-to-day spending.
Suspicious.
We're not going to
That's
do
exactly what it does mean.
preside over a decade and a half of sluggish or no growth.
It's a bit
and record levels
suspect.
of debt, and then put the
Suspicious.
price for that squarely on the heads of working people. But when it comes to local councils, we have other things as well that we'll do within the first year of the Labour
You're right,
government
mate.
to
That's
make a
one
difference.
term
Very
for it.
committed, for example, for multi-year funding settlements, which mean that councils will have the ability to plan. And at the moment, you've got this absurd situation where often councils are trying to pass their budgets before they even know
I've just
how
got to wire
much
these
money
lights up,
they'll have
guys.
to spend. That's just absurd, and we want to end that and bring more stability and certainty to local government so that we can plan over several years alongside new powers to allow them to grow their own local economies and invest the proceeds in local people.
What did you make of Penny Mordaunt saying that Labour doesn't have credibility on defence, given Angela Rayner, she says, voting against Trident in the
Quiz
past?
time.
I mean, does she have a point? That's a
Right, so that one there is black.
change in position in quite a short amount of time.
Because what Penny Mordaunt didn't say is that during the course of that debate about the renewal of the nuclear
Black one.
deterrent, there was, and the submarines that it relies on, there was an assurance sought by Labour that the
I'll answer that question in a second.
commitment to renew Trident
I've just
would
got to
go
concentrate when I do
alongside
this.
an effort to pursue a strategy of non-proliferation,
That's it.
sorry, hard word to say this time of night, of nuclear weapons.
2 more to put in.
So trying to make sure that we take steps collectively,
Which is that
with
one.
our allies, in order to reduce the threat of nuclear weapons to the world. Every government has pursued that. The Conservatives refused
Yeah, the red
since
one.
the war. The Conservatives refused to give that commitment, and it was on that basis that many people were to support that bill. That had they're given that commitment, but clearly in their manifesto, there are many of us across the front bench who would have supported it. Penny Mordaunt, as usual, was getting increasingly desperate during the course of that debate and just throwing around lies. But as Angela Rayner
That'd be
rightly said,
4.
her brother, Angela's brother, served in Iraq, and when you cut the army to its smallest number to 200
4.
I'm sorry, but we won't take lectures from the Tories on national security.
Just lastly, who
6.
performed more strongly apart from Angela Rayner in your view?
I think Michelle.
That's some strange mathematics you got taught there.
Absolutely phenomenal, cool, calm, and
It's not 6.
impartial.
There's no way
I
that
think
2
the
add 2
audience
can be
responded
6.
Really well to that. I think sometimes with these debates, what you see is a
Your
format
maths
where people
teacher
can't get a word in edgeways, despite
was a
being
liar.
Best attempts tonight. Everybody got a hearing, and I think she's done the public a service.
Not that I'm very good at maths, but I get by. You're lagging.
Within the next 20 minutes as well.
What, the video's lagging or you're lagged up? Can mean different things. Where I come from, somebody says, oh, I'm lagged right up. Like they pissed right up.
Start your message with the word local or WhatsAppers. It should cost you nout. Should cost you absolutely nothing. You can WhatsApp us on 08000 321 333. Start your message with the word local. Andrew in Birmingham. Nigel
colder,
Farage
huh?
spoke more common sense than any of the others tonight on knife crime and immigration. That's from Andrew in Birmingham. And Adam in London. Rishi Sunak's decision to leave Normandy
That is
early
correct.
and not stand alongside the likes of Joe Biden.
You should be a teacher.
Much further is a national embarrassment and symbolic of a broader decline of standards in public life. We desperately need more ordinary people to take heed of this and get involved in politics. The problem with Sunak is that he's extremely wealthy and
It's a bit
completely
cold.
out of touch with the experience of most people, which can be seen in his attitude to an important national event and his belief that the economy is improving. Normal people, no, that's just not the case. That's from Adam in London. WhatsAppers, 08000
Tell you what we're going to do.
Message with the word local. Paul, if you would need it in the studio. Talking about
Snub that out.
Rishi Sunak leaving the Normandy D-Day commemorations early to do an ITV election interview. But fairly early.
Yes, it did. And, you know, it was right to feature early, and Penny Mordaunt had to get her point out about that really early on. And clearly she thought hard about what she was going to say and how she was going to communicate it. Because with these sorts of problems, if you are that party, you are desperate not to let it fester. You're desperate to get it wrapped up in a box and put away again.
How do you think, Chanel?
Well, reasonably well, I think. She slowed down her speaking speed, which is something we do when you think I'm very serious here. And if I remember right,
Okay, mate,
she
yeah.
may have dropped her volume of her voice as well, which makes you lean in a bit. So, you know, communicating steady seriousness. And she said, you know, this was not the right thing to do. Not something that she would have done, but then moved on to the need to value veterans and make veterans feel valued.
She turned up the volume after that.
Yeah, so it was quite feisty, wasn't it? Quite lively, and she has a lot of practice because as leader of the House of Commons, you know, once a week,
Bye-bye.
she's in there sort of taking attacks from all comers and flinging all comers back, or flinging them back. So she's very practiced at this.
It's 9:15. I'm
Drop me
Ian,
phone.
and I'm with Graham live on your local BBC radio station. With you till 10. Joe Good takes over. Late night Joe. Not through till 1 in the morning. The usual Friday night fun with Joe. But between now and 10, let's have fun with politics.
Getting a bit warm, getting a bit cold out there, guys.
The first topic the panelists last was about defence.
Keep the midges out. Oh, that's the wrong one.
First of all, Labour's committed to the triple lock on nuclear deterrence, especially in the climate that we're in, which means we will take on nuclear deterrence, that we will make sure that the 4 submarines are built in Barrow, and that
Anyway,
we will
guys,
continue with the upgrades.
I'll catch you a bit later.
To the 2.5% spending of GDP, which obviously is very important. And